Hello, welcome my lovelies. In today's tutorial, I want to show you the fillet pattern I used for this diamond fillet top. You can find the link to the complete pattern in the description section. For this tutorial, I will be using this diagram and this set of written instructions. The fillet mesh is as follows. One block is 1 DC in each of the next 2 stitches or space. That is 2 DCs, and 1 space is a chain 1, skip 1 and DC in the next stitch, so that is a chain 1 plus 1 DC. So this is the formula we'll be using. So one block is 2 DCs and 1 space is a chain 1 and a DC. This particular pattern is in multiples of 12 stitches plus 7 chains. So in this tutorial I will be repeating the pattern twice. So I have changed a total of 12 into 2, so that is 24 plus 7, so that's a total of 31 chains for this tutorial because I'm repeating it twice. So you can chain as many times as you're repeating. So I have gone ahead and done 1 row of DCs to set up for the fillet pattern. This pattern has 6 rows that keep repeating. So let us begin the pattern. I will first read the pattern and then go through the diagram, and then I will work them. So we'll do this for each row. Let's begin with row 1. So in row 1 we have a chain 3, 1 DC in the next stitch. So here is our row 1. So we have a chain 3 and 1 DC in the next stitch. And then we have 1 space. So our 1 space is a chain 1 and a DC. And 5 blocks. So 5 blocks is 2 DC each, so 10 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here is our 5 blocks. And now we're going to repeat everything that is there within these brackets. So we'll repeat this. So that would be 1 space, so chain 1 and DC, and 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 DCs. So now we're at this portion, so we're left with 3 stitches in the end. Next we're going to do 1 space, so that is a chain 1 and a DC, and 1 DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So you'll see that when we work it, so since we have a row of DCs, we will be working a DC on top of this chain 3. So let's start working this row. So we'll begin with a chain 3, turn, 1 DC in the next stitch, 1 space, so chain 1, skip 1 and 1 DC, and then we have 5 blocks. So 5 blocks is 10 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we've completed the instructions within the bracket once, and we're going to repeat it one more time. So that is 1 space first, so chain 1, skip 1, 1 DC, and 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 DCs. So we're at this point now. We have 3 stitches left. So we're going to go over to this one space. So one space is a chain 1, skip 1 and DC. And we are left with the chain 3 space in the end. So we're going to do 1 DC on top of that chain 3 space. So here we have completed row 1 of our fillet pattern. Let's move on to row 2. So here is row 2. So row 2 is again chain 3, 1 DC in the next stitch. So here is the beginning of row 2. We have a DC and a chain 3 and a DC in the next stitch. And then you have 1 block. So 1 block is 2 DCs, so 1, 2 DCs. And then we have 1 space, so that is a chain 1 and 1 DC. And then we have 3 blocks, so 3 blocks is 6 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 DCs. And then we have 1 space, so that is a chain 1 and a DC. So we're going to repeat everything inside the brackets one more time. So we have our 1 block first, which is 2 DCs, 1 space, so chain 1 and 1 DC. And now we have 3 blocks, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DCs and 1 space, so chain 1 and 1 DC. So we're at this point where we have only 3 stitches left. Then we're going to work 1 block as the pattern suggests. So 1 block is 2 DCs, and then we will do 1 DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So let's start working this row. So chain 3, 1 DC in the next stitch, and then we have 1 block, so that is 1 and 2 DCs, and we have 1 space coming up next, so chain 1, skip 1, 1 DC, and then we have 3 blocks, so 3 blocks is 6 DCs, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 DCs. Our 3 blocks are here, and then we have a space, so chain 1, skip 1 and 1 DC. So we finished the pattern once. We're going to repeat it again. So we're going to start with 1 block, so 1 DC and 2 DC, and then we have a space, so that is chain 1, skip 1 and 1 DC, and then we go over to 3 blocks, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 DCs, and we have a space in the end, so that is a chain 1, skip 1 and DC. And now we have 3 stitches left in the end. We're here, so we're going to make 1 block next, so that is 2 DCs, so 1 and 2, and we're going to finish off with 1 DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So here we've completed 2 rows of our fillet pattern, and let's move on to row 3. So here is row 3 of the pattern. I'm sure by now you've noticed how we always begin with a chain 3 and 1 DC in the next stitch, and we repeat whatever is within the brackets till we have 3 stitches left, and then we do 1 block or 1 space as the pattern suggests, and we finish with 1 DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So let's see how row 3 goes. So we have a chain 3 and 1 DC. So here is our chain 3 and 1 DC in the next stitch, and we have 2 blocks after that. So 2 blocks is 4 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4 DCs, and then we have 1 space after that. So we have 1 space, 1 block, and 1 space, 1 block. So here is 1 space is chain 1 DC, 1 block, so 2 DCs, 1 space after that, so chain 1 DC, and 1 block after that, so 1, 2, 2 DCs. So here we have 2 blocks, chain 1, 2 blocks, 1 space, 1 block, 1 space, and 1 block. So now we're going to repeat everything inside the brackets again. So we have our 2 blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4 DCs, 1 space, so chain 1 DC, 1 block, 2 DCs, 1 space, chain 1 DC, and 1 block, 2 DCs. So we're at this point where we have only 3 stitches left. So we will do 1 block as the pattern suggests, so 2 DCs, and we finish off with 1 DC in the last stitch. So let's work this row. So chain 3, DC in the next stitch, and now we're gonna do 2 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 DCs, and then we have 1 space, block, space, block. So 1 space is chain 1, skip 1 DC, and then we're going to do 1 block, so 2 DCs, 1 and 2, and then we're going to have 1 more space, so chain 1, skip 1 DC, and then we're going to have another block, so 1 and 2 DCs. So we finished the pattern once. So let's repeat everything inside the brackets again. So 2 blocks is 4 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have space, block, space, block. So chain 1, skip 1 DC, and 2 DCs for a block, and then we have chain 1, skip 1 DC for the next space, and then we have a block after that, so 2 DCs, and now we have just 3 stitches left in the end. So we're here. So after this we make 1 block, that is 2 DCs, 1, 2, and then we'll finish off with 1 DC on top of the chain 3 space in the end. So here we've finished up to row 3 of the pattern. You can already see the diamond pattern forming here. Let's move on to row 4 now. So as always, we'll begin with a chain 3 and 1 DC in the next stitch. So chain 3 and 1 DC in the next stitch, and 3 blocks first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DCs, 1 space, so chain 1, 1 DC, 2 blocks. So 2 blocks is 4 DCs. So 1, 2, 3, 4 DCs. And now we're going to repeat everything inside the bracket one more time. So 3 blocks is 6 DCs again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have 1 space, so chain 1 DC. And then we have 2 blocks, so 1 2 3 4 DCs for 2 blocks. And now we have 3 spaces left. We're at this point. So after this the pattern says 1 block, so we're going to make 2 DCs for 1 block and finish off with a DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So let's go ahead and work row 4. So 1 2 3, chain 3, 1 DC in the next stitch, and then we're going to begin with 3 blocks. So 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So here are our 3 blocks, and then we have 1 space, so chain 1, skip 1 and DC, and then we have 2 blocks, so that is 4 DCs. So 1 2 3 and 4, 2 blocks. And now we're going to repeat everything inside the brackets till we have only 3 stitches left. So we go ahead and do 3 blocks, so that is 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, and then we have 1 space, so chain 1, skip 1, 1 DC, and 2 blocks, so 2 blocks is 4 DCs, 1 2 3 and 4. So now we have only 3 stitches left, so we're here, and after that we're going to make 1 block, so that would be 2 DCs, 1 and 2, and we will finish off with 1 DC on top of the chain 3 in the end. So this is row 4 of the fillet pattern for the diamonds. I know at this point it looks like a chevron, but when we continue with the other rows it will finish the top part of the diamond. So here we finish the bottom half of a diamond. Now let's move on to the pattern. So the pattern for row 5 is exactly the same as row 3, and the pattern for row 6 is exactly the same as row 2. So I will not be showing you how to do that again. I'm just going to go ahead and finish that just to show you how it looks. So I'm going to pause the video right now, finish row 5 and 6, which is basically row 3 and row 2 one more time, and I will show you how it looks. So here I've finished rows 5 and 6, and here you can see how the diamond pattern is forming. So these are the 6 rows which keep repeating again and again. As you can see, the top of the diamond is not closed because we will just be repeating row 1 on top over here. I will do row 1 once just to show you how it will look. Okay, so here I have done the first 6 rows of the pattern and then repeated row 1 just to show you how it will look when one diamond pattern is finished. So this is how you do this pattern. So you keep repeating the first 6 rows as many times as you want, and when you want to finish the pattern you just repeat row 1 one more time so that you close the diamond on top. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. Do check out my chevron fillet pattern too. I've left the link in the description box. And don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Happy hooking!